day, viewers. Welcome to this edition of us, staff of the SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia, coming to you. My name is Salif Emba, and I am here with my colleagues. We are from the SOS CSGE project. The SOS CSGE project is an acronym that stands for the Community Strengthening Through Green Economy and Education. And I am here with my colleagues. I'll want them to introduce themselves before we go in for the program.
Thank you so much, Salif, for that. Good afternoon, viewers. I am Amikole Bajan from SOS Children's Village under the CSG project.
All right, thank you. I am Malik Jeba, a social worker working with the CSGE project. This is actually my second project working with SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia. Thank you.
Great. As I said, I am Salifu Emba. I'm a social worker working with the SOS CSG project. And likewise, my colleagues, we are all social workers coming from the same project, from the SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia. We are here just to make our viewers understand what the SOS CSG project is all about and what we do as a project in strengthening community structures and every other thing that we do. So the CSGE project is an extension of the SOS BMZ project. So we call this the phase 2 of the SOS BMZ project, which started in November 2020 and it ended in May of 2023. So that project came about to reduce the child rights violations at the backwater dump site. It was actually called the Sustainable Waste Management to Reduce Child Rights Violations at the Backwater Dump Site. So it was successfully implemented with all the facilities that everybody is seeing at the Backwater Dump Site right now, including the green zone, which is beautifully erected, including all other facilities in the dump site, the access roads at the dump site, the reservoirs, and everything. And as a result of that, people have really realized the decrease of fire incidents at the Backwater Dump Site. So we also worked with about 200 caregivers of 200 families within the 3 communities of Backwater, Manjai Kunda and Dipakunda. We strengthened them, gave them business coaching, and as well as giving them business startups to support their children at home. So the CSG project came as an extension of the successful implementation of phase 1. So the CSG project is into components or into what we call sub-goals. So the first sub-goal talks about family strengthening, and the second sub-goal talks about starting up a green incubator at the premises of the Backwater dump site, including an incubator for young people. The third sub-goal talks about the strengthening of community structures, and the fourth sub-goal talks about advocacy and networking, which we are actually doing. So my colleagues and I are going to delve on all these sub-goals to make the viewers and the community and the nation at large understand what we do at the SOS Children's Villages under the CSGE project. So I'll start with the lady. Amikole, please go into detail as to what I call sub-goals. So the first sub-goal of the CSGE project is about strengthening families. And how are we doing that?
Yes, thank you so much, Salif, for that. So when you look at the project, we go through these sub-goals that we strengthen to work on to push up the project to make sure it is well implemented, following the steps of this outlined element of goals. So when you look at the first goal, which entails the families and the youths as well. So for the participation and the selection of these 150 beneficiaries from these communities, which is Manjai, Bakote, and Dipakunda, of course. And then we have 50 families in there where we conducted an assessment with them. So we go through to make sure we know their vulnerability areas, their problems, to also access their areas of need in terms of businesses, which when we go further, we talk more on the businesses that will support them through when presenting their business plans, of course, with the support of the project team. And then that's how the first sub-goal came through. And also we are able to also select these 150 beneficiaries, youths that we enroll in different schools. which are like in different TVET programs, and they are already in that implementation that is done, and then we are in the final phase of it, where in recent month they will all graduate and then proceed to the next goal. So this is really a hectic thing, but it's an enjoyment of that the staff were able to do it according to the project goals that will help them also to emphasize on how we came up with it to implement everything that our project has expectation. And happily for us, we are far at that stage that we have done in the phase sub goals. Yeah. Okay.
You mentioned working with 50 families and 150 youths.
Yes.
Malik, these 150 youths, how has it been working with them?
Yeah, thank you so much. First, I would want to say congratulations to the team that worked in the first phase of the project of the BMZ. We are here today because there have been a lot of work, a lot of success done. A lot of requirements were met, the donors were happy, the partners were satisfied, beneficiaries, and all together, that is what took us to the second phase. So obviously, the impact is what people want to continue and the relevance. Going into the sub-goal that Ami talked about, it's a very, very key component of the project. It's one in which we are not just strengthening families, but also vulnerable young people. These are already selected. They've already into their TVET programs, TVET training in different TVET training institutions. They are doing well, and the selection was quite very fair and free, because we rolled out advertisement in which young people applied, more than 500. So, but we were only able to admit 150, following our criteria and so many other things. And now that they are into their TVET trainings, and they are all doing well, for people to know and understand, because these are things that they needed so much. And once they got the opportunity, they embrace it, and they are doing so well. And with the project support and also the support of our partners, they are doing well. And we are looking forward to also rolling out the next phase after they graduate from the TVET trainings. And this component, we want to support them as families to improve the economic situations of their families, and also the young people to ensure that they are also employable. Just what we want to achieve at the end of the day is to ensure that they have employment, or are also able to create employment for other young people. So by doing so, the project support, is continuing, and we are taking these young people through a very, very rigorous process of career guidance, mentorship, and also an incubation period in which the moment they finish their TVET training, we just don't allow them to just go like that. We'll take them through a process in which we'll train them on how to also take up or transform these skills that they have into viable business ideas. So they become employable and also support their families. So it is going on very well, and we are very, very hopeful that the target for that particular component of the project will be realized.
Thank you so much. And it is also very important to know that none of these caregivers that we mentioned, these 50 caregivers that we mentioned we are working with, was identified by SOS Children's Villages. They were actually identified by community structures, members of the community, let's say community leaders, who knows the standard of living of their community members. So from these 50, we are having 15, right, from Dipakunda?
Yes.
And
14 in Manjai, 15 in Bakote, and I think 20 or 15 in Dipakunda, which makes it 50.
I think you are missing the numbers. It is 15 in Dipakunda,
15,
15 in Manjai,
exactly,
and 20 in Bakote.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That gives us a number of 50.
Yes, 50.
So what about the young people? Are we talking about all the young people doing one vocational course, or what are they doing?
No, through the selection, everybody has. We gave them a form which every individual have written their information from date of birth, their areas of interest. So individually, everything. So the team will also go through these forms that each of these individuals has their areas of interest. So the TVET program is a large program. Not everybody will go onto one side. So when you talk about TVET, it's very large. We have tailoring, we have catering, we have a lot of stuff that each of this individual is given the right to select freely according to the area of of interest. So you can see in that case, everybody that choose in their areas, they are doing better, because it's not a forced thing. Everybody has given the opportunity also to make choices of their own in the future sustainability, of course, because when you are doing something that you are given the privilege and choices to make, you'll be able to reinforce and implement to the best of your abilities. So we have a lot of direct programs that each of these individuals is given the opportunity to participate in their areas of interest. Yes, yeah.
And because we are representing SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia here,
Yes.
it is also very important for people to know what SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia are doing.
Yes.
We are not just about children.
Exactly.
Because out there in the community, what people know is,
Yes.
whenever you say, I work with SOS, they'll be like, don't let
The
my
clinic or
right, so they think we are only
Yes,
working with children, but
yes.
no, actually,
yes.
we have so many projects implemented by SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia.
Yes.
So we have the children's village, we have the clinic, we also have an adult training center where
Yeah.
tailoring, catering, and social work is trained. We have the schools from kindergarten to secondary school.
The
We have other
clinic
projects,
as well.
other youth projects, Malik.
Yes. SOS is actually really attracting a lot of projects because they have successfully implemented very, very good projects throughout the country. You know, we are talking about family strengthening programs, you know, women empowerment programs, youth empowerment, you know, projects, you know, and also now this community strengthening programs. Really, SOS is now into a lot of projects, and especially on youth participation and empowerment also, SOS is doing considerably very well alongside with our partners. We are now a very, very key player, and we've been recognized by partners and government institutions because of the impact and because of the space that we've also been contributing. And by doing so, most of the projects that we have now have a component on youth empowerment, on employability and skills development. That should tell you that now SOS is also into projects, into so many development programs for women, children, and also young people.
Yeah. And that brings me to goal 2 of this project, which is the Green Incubator, right?
Yes.
And the Green Incubator talks about having a compost chamber
Yes.
that manufactures compost at the premises of the backwater dump site.
Yes.
So, can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Actually, because we said it's community strengthening through green economic and education. And by doing so, the project is currently training interested individuals in compost making. The idea is to train people on how to make compost, to be able to also encourage horticulture and floriculture activities within the backwater landscape. You know, we want to reinforce the idea of the green zone. People, you know, planting more trees to ensure that, you know, also young people also engaging into economic activities that are, you know, economically friendly and also very, very viable. And now the idea is once we finish this training, because during the training of this compost making, about 10,000 kilograms of organic compost will be produced, and we will give opportunity.
That's monthly, right?
Exactly. We'll give opportunity to interested individuals to come make best use of this. You know, to plant flowers, you know, seedlings to sell and make, you know, a living, make business out of it. Not just for to them to know how to prepare this compost, but to also utilize it, also, you know, make a living out of it. We are also targeting working with the scavengers at the dump site. The idea is to also give them another option of also engaging into something, you know, a livelihood skill that will be friendly and also that will also be very, very healthy for them. Because you know, we all understand working at the dump site has a lot of health hazards, and some of it is not really, you know, friendly to their health and their children.
Thank you.
So this idea of having the compost making, if they are trained, they now know how to prepare, you know, make flowers, sell at the dump site, you know, occasionally, or they can make their own choice either to leave the dump site and venture into this business, you know, of horticulture. That will be their choice, but we want the opportunity to be available to them and also other people within the communities.
And that brings me to Ami again. You mentioned in this compost training, just reminded me of our slogan. We are talking about changing waste to wealth.
Waste to wealth.
Waste to wealth, right? So in waste to wealth, What you're talking about is using household waste and every other thing that we call waste, which can be turned to wealth, to train people into how to make it. And I mean, you're witnessing something very interesting at the compost making chamber.
Yes. So the project has a target of 30 beneficiaries in this compost making, whereby we will empower people who are interested to be part of this training. And it's very beneficial, even though we have not yet in the finishing line, but you can see the energy in these individuals who are ready to be part of it. And we have gone far now, we can say that. So after this process, when we done with this compost training, you can see we will also train them on how to package these things, and that will help them in the entrepreneurship in the future, businesses that they want to venture in. Because when you look at the scavengers, we all know that that area is not environmentally friendly to their health. So these people also are part of our targets if they are interested to change part in economic ventures. So the floriculture also is there to help them if we have people who are also interested and they are also interested, because we can see that this area is not good for their health, as Malik said. Is hazardous. It's not good for their health in the future. Even by now, they are experiencing health problems. Some of them, you can see how we all witness how things are going on there. So after this training, we will also employ 10 individuals from these 30 beneficiaries that we have that will be working directly in the SOS premises. And at the end of the day, that will help them as well economically, and it's going to be a sustainable thing. So you can see it's a top notch for the project, and we are so excited that we are dealing to the direct people that we think they are the most deserving and most vulnerable for their economic, financially, and also health status. So I think the project right now, we are doing more, and then we are seeing the results.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the compost making is not just about them making compost. It's about them making compost and teaching them how to package it and how to market it.
Exactly.
So you really want them to make a living out of this, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that also brings me back to what we did for most of these waste pickers that we call scavengers at the dump site, that they were capacitized on occupational hazards, on workplace hazards, on environmental safety, on waste segregation. And that was all because we wanted them to make sure they make a living and a sustainable living out of what they're doing. Not just that, but for them as well to stay safe and healthy whilst they do this work that they're doing. Because scavenging is also a job, and it's a right that everybody should be able to be allowed to be scavenged, because it's a source of living. Right? I think that is clear, right? Yeah. So we move into our other sub-goal, which talks about the strengthening of community structures. How are we doing that? I start with the lady.
Yes, it's a very interesting sub-goal as well. When you look at the community strengthening, the structures that we form, we conducted 2 consecutive trainings with 2 different compositions, where we have the environmental composition training and the child protection training. So under each of these compositions, we have what is called the FWC, the Family Welfare Committee in each of these communities. So these people also take part in this training, where we have a selection of other community members with the support of this FWC and the Alcalos or other authorities within the localities of these 3 communities. So which makes it like an 18 individual or beneficiaries of each of these 2 compositions. So during this training, we train them on environmental impacts, how well these people can be nurtured on how to protect the environment. So this knowledge, after all, we will go further into the other details of the sub-goals. We will talk about it. So the other training also, which is child protection training, which entails on how members or the caregivers or the families can do good parenting in these communities within the household or anywhere. It's a knowledge that can be taken anywhere. So these 2 trainings were done within these 2 sub-goals.
SOS mom.
Yes.
We cannot go and leave children's rights behind.
Exactly, because that is our strength and our vision to put a smile in every child's. Yes.
Yes. Malik, anything to add upon how we are strengthening community structures?
Yes. Working with the communities for this particular phase of the project, our key partners are these 3 communities, that is Manjai, Dipakunda, and Bakwata. In the first phase, we were working more with KMC. And for this particular phase, we are working with these communities. And to ensure that the communities take ownership of the project, we establish community welfare, family welfare communities in these 3 communities. Now, these family welfare communities are supposed to serve as the bridge between the project and the community. And they are the ones who will also lead the sustainability aspect of this project once the project phases out. These family welfare committees will also take up or will also champion community projects that they will implement, in which the project will also support them. They know their communities better, they know their issues and their challenges more. So they will come up with this, with the support of and guidance of the social workers of the project. They will come up with community projects that we will support and they will implement. And they are going to take the lead, because we want them to take ownership and ensure that once we are not there, they'll be able to continue, because they know their people, they know their issues. And also, we also created other committees like Ami mentioned, the child protection and also environmental committees. All these committees will be strengthened. We build their capacity, roll out trainings programs for them, support them financially to ensure that they are able to implement some of these activities or these projects that we have for them within their localities. Yeah.
And I think it is important to note that the first thing that we did for these FWCs was to capacitize them on resource mobilization and leadership. And because we wanted most of the projects that we are implementing in the communities to be sustainable. And the sustainability aspect of every project lies in the hands of the community. Right? And it is not just them wanting it to be sustainable, but it is them having the knowledge and the know-how to be able to sustain the resources that we leave behind. Projects phase out, but communities remain. So I think that was a good thing that the SOS project is doing, right?
And the good thing is, these committees that we set up have actually taken ownership of the project. They are very, very viable and very, very key partners. So many things that we would have found difficult to do or to take from the communities directly, they are helping us do it. Meaning they are so much into the project, and most of them are people that have capacity, that have experience, that know their communities very well. Those are the people that they brought together, who knows the communities and have experience, and also are very resourceful individuals who can support alongside the social workers and also the project support to ensure that the projects, community projects that they have in mind, and also how do we also sustainably help continue rolling out community child protection activities in the communities, because that's SOS interest is key. They are there to serve as ambassadors, also mentors to the family caregivers that we have. We have 15 family caregivers in almost all these communities. So they are also working directly with those family caregivers to help us support, to guide our actions, and also our project support towards those families. Yeah.
And that brings me to sub-goal 4, which is my own sub-goal. I love this sub-goal so much, which is advocacy and networking, right? So what are we trying to do with this sub-goal? There is a lot that we can do, but when it comes to, because we need to remember that the primary goal, the goal itself of this project is to improve the living conditions of people living within the vicinity of the backwater dump site. And then if you talk about people living around or within the vicinity of the backwater dump site, it is actually people of Manjaikunda and Backwater, together with the people of Dipakunda. Sometimes those from Manja even query that people of Dipakunda do not have impacts of the dump site. But I live in Dipakunda and I know we do, right? So what are we trying to achieve in this advocacy component? Ami, can you?
Yes, this advocacy, this component consists of activists. So these activists will serve as an ambassador, just like Malik said. These people will be responsible for the lobbying, networking, and also working with KMC, of course, about the administrative and the monitoring and also any activity that's supposed to take in this community. So these are ambassadors between us and the people of the communities. So these people can come up with projects that they come up with viable projects that are very impactful for these communities. So these activities are very important for this sub-goal that will serve as also a beneficiary, not just training, but also impact and also teach others what are the importance of environmental impact, what is the importance of these communities, structures, like they have a lot. So we have already started with them. So we can say a lot has been done, but this one also is a very important one that as the project goes, we will, yes, work on it. So I will let Malik also to emphasize more on this project goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, advocacy is key for the project.
Yes.
And it's a very, very interesting component or sub-goal, like Salif said. These activists or change agents, as we may call them, are really going to be very, very key partners for the project. Very soon we roll out a training program for them in which we'll develop an advocacy strategy that they will use to roll out their activities in the communities, and also using some social media and also some of the radio and television to also champion some advocacy campaigns, not just to raise awareness, but also to gather concerted efforts for the project to work with partners to ensure that we solicit cooperation and support from other key partners to support the project, and also to ensure that these communities that we are working with also embrace, also perform or participate fully to the realization of the project goal, that is to support or to improve the family, the economic situations of families within the Bakwete landscape.
It is also important to note that most or all of these activists that we are talking about comes from within government agencies that we are directly partnering with, like the KMC, like the National Environment Agency, community women groups, community youth groups, local or solo activists that we've recognized can be impactful in the lobbying for a sustainable environment, or an environment that is protected, not just for SOS but for children. Okay, and it will also be very impactful for us to understand that this show that we are hosting here is as a result of the advocacy and networking sub-goal of this project, right? And the most important thing about this, why I love this sub-goal, is that we have human beings that are working at the dump site. The security that is installed there by KMC, the dump site management, the waste pickers, the waste collectors, who are the waste pickers are the scavengers. The waste collectors are those working in the KMC trucks and also those working with the donkey carts. But what we've realized is there is still medical waste that is disposed of at the dump site, which is really a very concerning thing for us as social workers and as change makers, for SOS Children's Villages and for KMC themselves. So as a result of that, our lobbying, or most of our lobbying, will be centered around, it was supposed to be centered around having an incinerator, a medical waste incinerator at the dump site. But now that the government has a functional medical waste incinerator somewhere in West Coast region, in Farato, our lobby now is, or our advocacy now, is to make sure that every other satellite pharmacy, every other satellite drugstore, or every other hospital transports their waste to the medical waste incinerator, so that they do not expose these people working to any other medical hazard that they might be dumping at the dump site. Right? Anything to add upon that?
Yes. Actually, that's also key during the advocacy, because we want to reduce also not just the people who work at the dump site, also there are children that live within these communities, and we want to reduce the child rights violation. So it's also, we also live within the backward. We are also very close to the dump site. As people, we are also directly affected. So not just do we want to protect the people that work there, but people that live within it, especially the children. So this advocacy, these activists will champion some of these activists to ensure that they solicit the cooperation our partners, the pharmacies, the hospitals, to ensure that they comply. They also cooperate, excuse me, to ensure that they also comply with our plans, to ensure that they also, instead of dumping it at the dump site, or indiscriminately littering it, they should take it to the incinerator to ensure that they are also reprocessed for use, because we want to turn waste into wealth. So we can do it, together. Yeah.
Okay. So, what other SOS projects do you know that is currently being rolled out, and you're so happy about it as a staff of SOS Villages in the Gambia?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, you know that we are all new staff at SOS, but this project seems like we have worked with SOS for so many years, because the impact of this project will touch every individual lives, whether directly or indirectly. So everybody that sees this project, that is why what we are doing, as Malik says, is an advocacy has started, because this kind of project need an exposure. This kind of work, this is very detrimental to the lives of the people, because even if you don't live within this Bakote area dump site, even though you are not part of there, you may not be affected directly, but you may have families that are living there. So you having that opportunity to work within this type of project is like a breakthrough, because your work is benefiting the lives of other people whom you may not even know them. And people like us, we don't live there, but we have families that are there that are affected. So us working there, we are benefiting those people. So it's a big thing that this project is doing. So when it comes to the advocacy and lobbying, these people cannot do it alone. We all know that. So this is why we say the advocacy and networking. These people will be networking and then working with the Ministries of Health, National Environmental Agency, Environmental Impact Assessment, all those things that are health concerned. Organization or institutionals, they will come together collectively and partner and make sure this sub-goal is highly implemented, because it's going to be the benefit of all the Gambian population. Yes.
Malik?
Yes.
What has working with SOS Villages taught you?
A lot. Really, since 2019, during the Youth Empowerment Project called the SAVI, that is the strengthening of vulnerable young people in LRR and CRR. Throughout, I've realized SOS moving more into family strengthening and also youth empowerment. And I'm also happy that this project also have a youth component on capacity building. And together with partners, SOS cannot do it alone. If you see that SOS is getting more projects, and also some of their projects getting second phases, it's as a result of the support of the partners. So we cannot thank them enough all the time. Our corporate partners, people who have been there for SOS since day one, and who are also potential partners who will see this advocacy, also want to come in and support. And also, due to the support of the staff who really, the social workers and also the project team who have been really there and are so committed to all the components of the project, which is really, really key, because this is everyone's business. Youth empowerment is everyone's business. Family strengthening is everyone's business. And together, I'm sure we can do much, much better.
Thank you. It is also important to say this, that this project is funded by the German, I hope I get this name right, like Neymaget will say, BMZ, right?
Yes.
I think it is the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation. I pray I get it right.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
And also HGFD, that's the Haman Minor Funds Deutschland.
Yes.
So they are the two funders of this project, and we cannot thank them immensely for coming back for the second time, right?
Yes.
The one that comes back a second time is impressed with what they saw for the first time. So phase one was successfully implemented. They were happy. They knew the funds that they put into this were made into good use, and they still wanted to see that impact continue. So they decided to come for the second time. We cannot thank them enough. We cannot thank the management of SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia, from the national director to the... There is no this at SOS. There is no this at SOS. But it has to start from somewhere, and it starts from the national director. So we will actually just want to thank everybody. Like every other staff have been so cooperative and have been so helpful for the successful implementation of phase 1 and for the successful rollout of phase 2 until where we are today, right? And on that note, I wouldn't want to say much in closing, but if you still have anything to close with?
Yeah, I'm going to say thank you so much, because we should be having this kind of program to make so people are enlightened about this kind of hazardous areas, like these people that are very vulnerable, not even SOS, but also other partners and stakeholders can come and then work hand in hand with SOS, you know, to make it a more impactful projects and more projects, because this is a never-ending thing. It needs to go like continuously, as far as the funding, and also the donors are satisfied, and I'm sure they will continue to fund the project, because when a donor is satisfied, of course, they will like to extend any project they are funding. So we are excited as a team and also staffs of SOS under this project, you know, so we cannot say much, just to say thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You want to speak, Fula?
I would still want to call on. All right, I would love to. Yes, we still want to call on our partners to continue supporting the project and SOS children's villages in the Gambia.
Yeah.
Because family strengthening, like I said, is everyone's business. We all know the trending economic hardship everywhere, and also how vulnerable our young people are. Now that our young people are embracing TVET learning, vocational skills development, we really need to continue supporting them. And also, because there are a lot of concerns about our young people in terms of, we all know what is recently happening, the concern about drug abuse, substance abuse and all stuff. So if we don't take our youth off the streets and engage them into something meaningful, we will not have a very, very productive future. So our young people should really be a concern to everyone, and we are glad SOS is also right into it. They are a very, very key player. So we are also calling on other young people to also embrace these opportunities once they come. We are glad that the people that we enroll are really doing well. Perhaps we've mentored them, we've coached them, and sensitized them. They are doing well. So together also, let us ensure that we support our young people, provide them with the platform that they need. That's all they need. It's the platform and the opportunity. When we give it to them, they'll make best use of it and will be better.
Thank you so much. On that note, I'll also close by saying SOS is not just about children. SOS is about everybody. It is about children, it's about youths, it's about women empowerment, it's about networking, it's about advocacy, it's about rights, it's about environmental management, it's about everything. So we do not just stop at working with children, but everybody's business is our business. So on that note, I'll bring a close to this very wonderful session that I wish never ended. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.